and welcome to Tru Blu. I'm Carmelita, and the founder of this Tru Blu group. Tru Blu is a group I started not too long ago. Blue is the color of autism, and I discovered that recently that autism speaks. They're the ones that came up with a lighted up blue campaign. So I thought, let's keep to the theme blue. I would like to welcome you to Tru Blu. So welcome. What is ASD? Many people don't know the abbreviations of ASD, etc., etc. So I thought, let's start at the beginning. ASD, it's a neurodevelopmental condition, and that affects people with autism or on the spectrum. It affects their social behavior as well as their communication, and that is what the autism spectrum disorder is. So autism or autism spectrum disorder has really 5 parts. The one that's not shown on this diagram is Kanner's disorder, but Google mainly shows you the 4 disorders that falls under the ASD umbrella, and the one that I'm going to be focusing on mainly is classic autism, which is your blue circle, and that is the one that we mainly going to focus on. But if I just look at Asperger's, which is the red circle, that is your level 1 ASD person. The term Asperger's mainly came before 2013, but now they call it level 1 ASD. And they are people or persons that mainly can function and communicate on a relative level. Childhood disintegrative disorder is a rare condition where it's called CDD, and it affects the language and social function as well as motor skills. And Rett syndrome affects the brain and the brain's development. That is just an overview of what is on the spectrum, more or less. So if we look at ASD and the levels, there's 3 levels, where level 1 is relatively good functioning, on an optimal level, where they interact to a certain degree. They have planning problems, but nothing major. They can still function in a mainstream kind of school, where level 2 is geared towards assistance, more like it in a mainstream school, where they have limited social skills. And level 3 is where they need they really kind of require major assistance, where they have severe deficits, verbally, behavioral, holistically. So when we look at some research, the Amen Clinic in the US has done some intensive research on autism, where they've given us statistics of 1 in 54 kids are diagnosed with the problem skills where they don't function well socially. They have severe developmental delays as well as behavioral and communication issues. There is a the clinic, the Dr. Amen Clinic, is set up and geared towards assisting ASD persons, where we don't really have a clinic like that here. And if you just have a look kind of at the percentages here, where I look at my daughter, the 50% chronic sleeping problems is kind of, what she has. And the sad part is the physical and mental health conditions, which is sometimes overlooked. So if you look at the mental health issues, 34 to 35% have schizophrenia. 26, which is a large percentage of them that also suffer from depression. Food, however, plays a vital role in gut health, and they have poor gut health. So, I think that maybe as this group and we should talk about strengthening the gut, what builds up good gut health in future presentations. So where do I begin? Her name is Micah Jane. She was born at 36 weeks. I think I had low blood when I was pregnant, and it was pretty normal birth. She was born at 3.5 kilograms. It was only later on when the milestones really, where you start looking at the sitting, focusing of the eyes, etc., that when she was about 8-9 months, I could see she still couldn't sit. At a year, she wasn't sitting on her own yet. And of course, that was major red flags for me. So, just after second birthday, the doctor advised me, to start taking her for physiotherapy because she wasn't walking yet, an OT. And that assisted, she just started walking just before 2.5 years old. And of course, I'm her mother. I just knew that she was special. I then took her to Red Cross. She had an MRI where the neurologist at Panorama discovered that she had, some brain defects on the left-hand side of her brain, which was extremely devastating. I mean, what do I know? At that time, all that you hear is, there's something wrong with the left side of her brain. And of course, I asked the doctor, what is that, what does that mean for her? And he said, could be delayed speech. I then took her to Red Cross for, for speech therapy. She was over 4 years old. the speech therapist still couldn't find out what was wrong. I was then at the time still doing some research on what could be wrong with Micah. I then called the therapist and I said, I've been reading up about apraxia and speech apraxia. Is that not what she maybe has? They looked into it and they agreed that she had speech apraxia as well. I saw Dr. Richards at Red Cross, and after a year's observation, he's the developmental doctor, or was at the time. He then advised me that she would not fit into the mainstream school. I should apply at Belporto. I was devastated. At this time, I still had hope that she was going to get better. He explained to me that the developmental delay would be 2 years. The gap would be 2 years bigger every year. And the gap would just get larger. So if I look at her now, she's about 20 and she's developmentally 5. So there's a huge gap now. So if I look at when she started speaking, it was only by 10, 12 years old. And speech apraxia on its own has its own set of things, going with it besides the ASD. Devastating. I'm telling you, at 5, I still had hopes. You hold on to that last little hope. I don't know about anybody else, but I cried quite a bit, because your hopes and dreams are dashed. So that is a little bit about Micah. And for me, I had to learn how to cope. I have 2 children. Gareth is a boy, was very busy, was diagnosed with ADHD, but definitely also an ASD person, level 1. So, which I just discovered now recently at the age of 23. That he was misdiagnosed. So how did I cope? There was a lot of the time that it's so depressing. There was times that I'm ashamed to say it, but I was embarrassed to take her anywhere. I also got very angry when people stare. Other kids, don't know how to react to her, the sound she makes, etc. And of course, things were tough at home. She was just busy and all over the place all of the time. And I discovered, with trial and error, many tears, so much wanting to give up. A daily routine is important. You need to do the same things. Well, for me, I needed to do the same things every day, the same way. The toothbrush needs to be exactly there every day. And you tell her every day. I had to say, right, I still say, okay, you need to brush your teeth. She will repeat it. I brush my teeth, Mom. It's a repetitive story. You need to repeat yourself every day. I also had to remember that she feels your pain. Well, she felt my pain. I always, and as a single mother, you are going through your own struggles, your own mess that you need to get through, besides just trying to cope through the day. So for me now, I look back and I think, each person is unique. So, you need to treat the situation as unique. There's no one fixed way. You need to work out your own routine, your own way. For me, to prevent meltdowns, I needed to prepare everything the day before. Even now, we need to take out clothing and underwear, and we need to discuss what we're putting in for lunch. Because if we don't do that, and we are not prepared in the morning and in a hurry, that's when all the wheels come off. I don't want throwing tantrums, lying on the floor, etc., etc. So it gets better. I'm not gonna paint a doom and gloom picture and say it doesn't, but it does get better. Don't allow others to demotivate you. Don't allow others to say, this one did that. Especially people who's really not dealing with the same situation as what you are dealing with. I think co-ed parents have a good chance, a better chance, because there's two, and you can work things out and give each other a break. It gets better. I say it again, it does. You just need to work out what works for you and stick to it. So I know I've said a lot. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm recording. Oh, I am. Sorry. So I know I said a lot. I also have a YouTube channel called Tru Blu. I'm going to try and put as much information on there as I can. Also a Facebook page called the Mike Foundation, a TikTok account, Carmelita K47, and Raising Mike is the name of the page. And email, of course, is another nice thing. trubluautism@gmail.com. Please feel free to email, WhatsApp, send a message, and let me leave you with a Dr. Seuss quote. Why fit in when you are born to stand out? That's exactly who they are. I need to say thank you for watching my video. And yes, and I'll try and post, depending on the need and the comment, every second week. So hoping to hear from you, hoping to hear positive feedback, and we're going to be discussing in future, I'm going to be talking about food, activities, ways to communicate, as in Apple, for me, I'm just saying, it was speech and sign. So Apple, toilet, yellow, etc. We can talk about the Tiny Hands program. We can talk about schooling, special schools for them, which is quite important, and possible outings that we can have in the future to meet everybody. So have a good weekend, and thanks for listening.